In Kautilya's Ardhasastra, Vijigishu plays an important role. Vijigishu refers to the ambitious king. Sometimes he is also called the conqueror or an invader. He is a king who not only wants to retain, not just retain, but to expand. And in real life, that Vijigishu was Chandragupta, whom Kautilya was advising. So, Kautilya had a lot of experience in the training of Vijigishu. Of 15 books of Kautilya, the things that Vijigishu should do in terms of expanding were given in Book 9, Book 10 and Book 13. Book 9 deals with timing of attack of a kingdom and location of attack. And before that, the role of intelligence gathering. Kautilya gives a lot of importance to intelligence gathering and how to exploit the divisions within the country. Who might be the traitors to the king? And how do you employ spies? Kautilya gives a lot of importance to espionage network. Okay, spies can be included in the guise of doctors, mendicants, pilgrims, sadhus, all kinds of, and beautiful females to trap some important people of the kingdom. Because Kautilya thinks that army deployment is expensive, so we should try to minimize the role of army and make use of the internal weaknesses of the kingdom when Vijigishu wants to attack. And Book 10 deals with military encampment and battlefields and engagement in the battle. And Book 13 deals with how to capture the capital with propaganda. Capital is a very important element of the state. And Kautilya gives considerable importance to role of propaganda in any warfare. And by propaganda, one means all kinds of false information. So, Vijikishu has to create a confusing information to confuse the enemy, such as inflating your power through rumors, create rumors, and magic. Kautilya explains the use of magic at many places, how through magic you can impact public opinion, and also proclaiming association with gods. So Kautilya wants the Vijikishu to make an active use of religion as well as magic, as well as espionage, propaganda. Okay, and all these things are considered part of warfare. Okay, so Vijikishu employs all these techniques against other kingdoms. So what you should notice in this is that Kautilya's king wants to expand. Okay, why does he want to expand? Because king is interested in maintaining power, as well as increasing power. So he wants to expand. So Kautilya is advising the king how to maintain, how as well as how to expand. So similarities between Machiavelli's Prince and Kautilya's Ardhashastra is that both of them are interested in advising the king how to maintain power and how to expand power. Okay, and comparisons are made in terms of how far they believe in morality. Okay, both of them wanted, we can say, both of them wanted kings to be moral, no doubt. King should have character, no doubt. But both believe character in a traditional sense is not adequate or suitable for a king. King should employ many strategies, tactics, many kinds of dupes, many lies, okay, to be able to handle the enemy. So king's character may be important, but king should be, character is not in a traditional sense. King should be in a position to do these things. And moreover, Kautilya may have said that welfare of people or king's welfare or people's welfare is king's welfare. People's happiness is king's happiness. Okay. or king should be able to maintain dharma in his kingdom. So these are all nice things about a king, but Kautilya, when he is asking to invade some other country, it is not with an intention to establish dharma there, not with an intention to make the people happy there. People may be happy there, people may be pursuing dharma there. It is not for their happiness that the king is invading. So, people's happiness or dharma are only means to king's power. King is not seeking power to maintain dharma. King is not seeking power to make people happy. But making people happy keeps his power secure. Maintaining dharma keeps his power secure. So, to both Machiavelli and to Kautilya, power is important. Power is important and not dharma. And nowhere are they saying that if neighboring king, though weak, if people are happy and if there is a dharma, you don't invade. Or somebody else can establish a better dharma and make people happier, you don't defend and run away. No. So the primary variable in the discussion is power and not dharma, not morality. Okay. But unlike Machiavelli, Kautilya did not make explicit statements against why king should not follow dharma. It is because Machiavelli was facing a very specific moral code given by Christianity. Whereas Kautilya was facing Hinduism, which is very diverse, no single book. So, Kautilya need not be critical of any particular Hindu moral code because the code itself is not specific. Kautilya can recommend all kinds of activities, but saying in the end that you are doing, you finally provide dharma. So, Kautilya doesn't have a problem that Machiavelli has with a very specific Christian code which he thought was not suitable for a prince. So otherwise, both of them were primarily interested in helping their kings to retain power and to expand power, and whatever they are doing is with an intention of that power. Vijayvishu plays a very important role, gives very important or gives lot of importance to his neighbors. Okay, it is here Kautilya offers one important foreign policy analysis. Okay, he discusses like this. He says, if your kingdom is this, yours, okay, your neighbor is is an actual enemy or a potential enemy. Enemy refers to enemy. Okay, so whoever is your neighbor is a potential enemy or actual enemy. Okay, so it means enmity is determined by position, but only partly determined, not completely determined. Okay, that is one aspect. And second aspect is enemy has his own neighbor, and by definition that neighbor may be enemy's enemy. And Kautilya says enemy's enemy is a friend. Enemy's friend is enemy. And friend's friend is a friend. Okay. So, Kautilya wants Vijigishu to think in terms of neighboring states as well as their neighbors in terms of enemies and friends. Okay, it means Vijigishu looks around him within a particular range. You can call it within a circle. He has states which can be described as enemies or friends. Okay, so this is what is called mandala. That is called circle of friends. It is coming out to be circle because it is around you. It is around Vijigishu. Okay, so this is a model of what is called loose bicentric international system. It is bicentric, enemy or friend, international system. And anyway, in Kautilya's world, the world refers to South Asia or southern side of Himalayas. So the world conqueror or the earth refers to only South Asia. So Kautilya was thinking of that only as the Vijigishu's targeted terrain. Okay, but there are certain non-aligned states which are neither friends nor enemies. There are two types. One is Madhyama. Madhyama is a mediatory king who occupies a territory close to both ambitious one, Vijigishu, and his immediate enemy in front. He is capable of helping both because he is neutral, or resisting either. He may not be able to resist both. Resisting either. Okay. So he can be one of the non-aligned states. Okay. Or a non-aligned state can be of another type, which is Udasina. That is not in this territory, which is outside, but very powerful. Okay. So in that sense, Vijigishu has certain friends and enemies and some non-aligned states. Okay. So his world is like this: friends, 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 and then enemies, enemies, enemies. Okay, enemies, 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 enemies. Like this. And in between some intermediary or mediate or non-neutral states. But how does this impact foreign policy? What is it that one is expected to do? And here Kautilya says foreign policy is very much dependent on power. Okay. Your policy depends upon your power versus others' power. Okay. So here Kautilya proposes what is called sixfold policy. Sadgunya policy. Okay. What is this? Sadgunya policy consists of 6 kinds of policy. One is hostility, vigraha, or attack. Yeah. Hostility is like Cold War, whereas attack is an actual war. So when should conqueror follow this? He should follow when he is superior and the other is inferior. So vigraha and attack are what a superior should follow vis-a-vis the inferior. What is this superiority and inferiority? Is in terms of power. Okay. But if your enemy is superior to you, which means you are inferior, so what should you be doing? So there are 3 policies of inferior towards the superior. They are accommodation, protection, and double policy. Accommodation is called sandhi. Whoever is inferior to another shall seek accommodation with him. There are many ways of sandhi. Making your army present, okay, to the superior king when he requires it is one kind of sandhi. Giving tribute is another. Ceding territory is another. But anyway, if you are inferior and the other is superior, it does not mean you will remain forever in that position. So power is not constant. Power can change. But at any point of time, you are inferior to somebody, superior to somebody, or to somebody else, you are equal. Okay. And with equal, Kautilya proposes asana Asana means indifference. Neither is my enemy strong enough to destroy my works, nor am I strong enough to destroy his. But Kautilya doesn't give much importance to relations with equal powers. So he doesn't have the concept of balance of power and how balance of power is the source of stability. Kautilya doesn't go like that. So to equal relationship, he spends only one chapter. So Kautilya's main king was an expanding one and a conquering one. Okay. And what are the other policies of inferior towards the superior other than Sandhi? Protection and double policy. Protection creates heavy responsibility. Inferior one may have to take permission to install a heir apparent, and he should renounce independent foreign policy, foreign relations. Okay. And double policy Sandhi means with one king means harassment of another king to help the first king. So you act on behalf of the inferior king, acts on behalf of the superior king to harass superior king's enemy. This is double policy. So what is important in this analysis is that state is looked in terms of power, and power is taken as relative, inferior, superior, and rarely equal. And then relations are guided by power hierarchy. Okay. And the states are expected to attempt to make or increase their power. So all these things will come under realism in terms of modern day terminology. Okay. And Kautilya also proposes what are called Upayas. Upayas are this Sama, Beda, Dana, Danda. This also depends upon power relationship. But Sama, Beda, Dana, Danda is as a policy not only useful in external relations but also in internal relations. It means domestic as well as foreign. Okay, Sama means conciliation. Dissension is creating confusion. Okay. And Danda is punishment. Okay. So punishment is only one of the aspects. One can try to resolve a conflict to Sama, Beda, Dana. Okay. And Kautilya believes in certain cases, for example, when a neighboring king was only pretending friendship and actually trying to harm you or attack you, and that is what your espionage network says, then Kautilya says you can invite the king for a festival or a wedding or an elephant hunt, and then you capture him and kill him. So when you suspect the other one as hostile, when he was going to attack you, you attack first. Okay. So this is danda. But if there are other ways of winning him through conciliation or gifting, then you can win. Okay. Next. Is it that is it that a conqueror or a conquering king can do anything in the name of power? Doesn't he have any limitations? That is, can a king do whatever he wants in the name of power? Kautilya thinks in the name of power he cannot do whatever he wants. We are not talking about from dharma point of view, but from a realist point of view. Okay. From a realist point of view, a conquering king cannot do whatever he wants even if he has a lot of power. Why is it so? Because Kautilya's model itself suggests that even if you are a great king, you have enemies, and you are a part of circle of states where there are friends and enemies and enemies. Okay, and if you do certain things which your own friends approve, then you are keeping yourself at the risk. For example, you actually call a king who is friendly, who is really friendly, and kill him for no reason. Then others will be shocked. Others won't be friendly with you, and you cannot be trusted. So it means a king cannot do whatever he wants. It is not because he believes in dharma. It is because if he does things without paying attention to how it might be perceived by others, and particularly by friends, then it doesn't help him. So it means there is a social pressure for not doing certain things, and similarly, we can say in modern terms, if you are thinking in terms of how a particular state's actions are limited by the impact it can create on other states. Okay, the impact, the image that it will create in the eyes of other states by doing certain things, then you can see that there is something like, even in Kautilya times, and Kautilya knows that there is something called international society. International society, where a king is subjected to certain customs. Okay, like any domestic actor is subjected to customs. For example, Kautilya says, the just Vijigishu is satisfied with mere obeisance. So, for example, conqueror does Ashwamedha. Ashwamedha means that he does one yagnam and then releases a horse, and the horse travels a lot of distance, goes to many kingdoms, and if it goes unhindered, then that kingdom has accepted the superiority of the conqueror. Okay, and when it is accepted, what should the conqueror be doing? Conqueror should not expect anything more than obeisance and correspondingly certain things expected of obedient state. For example, the victor cannot seize the land or property of the defeated ruler. If he did, he would incur the open hostility of the whole circle of states. So, which means conquering means has certain specific meaning. It doesn't give the power to do anything. And it would be provocative if the victorious king coveted the wives of the defeated. And also, circle of states would condemn wealth acquired by breaching treaties and destroying friends. So, conquering the world meant he was not a ruler of a tightly controlled administration. It is just that many states would accept the superiority of the emperor, nothing more. And more than that, would generate more hostility, would deprive him of the support of the circle of the states, and all this without reference to dharma. So, international society developed its own moral code because moral code is a source of stability and the predictability. The moral code evolves at different levels, and different kinds of morals will come. So, domestic sphere will have its own moral code, and at the international level there will be its own moral code. So, Kautilya was not proposing that there were no morals. It was simply that, like Machiavelli, that the morals of the king were different from the morals of the ordinary. Thank you.